what's going on? You are listening to The Prototype, only on ThisWeekInGeek.net, and I'm not alone as I have waited in line, in online queues, I've dealt with crap, we both dealt with crap, one of us actually physically dealt with crap.
I dealt with a lot of crap.
I am joined by the man in Kitchener himself.
Alex the Producer, and I dealt with a lot of crap.
So yes, guys, we're here to talk about the next generation of consoles, that being the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5. And before we get any further in this impression and kind of general conversation about these two next generation consoles, I want to announce a giveaway that you can win here on the show by interacting with us on Twitter at ThisWeekInGeek or by emailing us feedback at ThisWeekInGeek.net. And what you can win is a next generation code, which will work on Xbox One or Xbox Series X, of Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. So if you want to experience the next generation in the Call of Duty franchise, I'm currently playing through it for a review. You should have something for next week. I would love for you to come play with me.
Because it's perfect. If you're somebody who did get, an X or an S, and, you're broke now, and you can't afford a game, you'll have that. And if you're somebody who has a previous gen Xbox, and you want to future-proof yourself, that's one way to do it.
Yeah, so once again, if you just want to interact with the show, we'll pick someone at random by next week. So once again, at ThisWeekInGeek on Twitter or feedback at ThisWeekInGeek.net. Just send us a note. Yeah,
to give us a little direction. What have you found most exciting about this console launch, and what have are you planning? Have you picked up the system already, or are you planning to?
Exactly. So, all right, so as you people have gathered over the last couple of months, me and Alex have been quietly preparing for the next generation of consoles. Alex planned a Ocean's 11-like heist since the beginning of the year to get both of these consoles.
I figured, okay, COVID, can't go out, can't work, can't do anything. Let me find out how I can turn all this stuff I have in my place into consoles. And that's the plan I executed.
Yeah, you basically Danny Oceaned all this, and you were able to end up with both of the next generation consoles, both with disk drives, whereas I myself got the Xbox Series S with a disk drive, and I went for the PlayStation 5 digital because it's just easier for me, and there was no difference in horsepower. So our experiences with these consoles,
very, very different. Yeah, like you just, we should preface this by saying we did not receive review consoles or anything. We paid for these out of pocket, and when we talk about me doing an Ocean's 11, I ended up with the like you said, both new consoles, the more expensive versions of each, 2-year replacement plans on each of them, extra controller for the PS5, the charging dock, the media remote, the camera, as well as the Elite version 2 controller for the Xbox, Demon Souls, Sackboy, all of that, including taxes and everything. Out of pocket, I paid a little under $600. So that's like $2,000 worth of stuff.
I myself went for, I've been scrimping and saving and kind of been preparing for this for quite some time in the background. My wife bought me one of these as a wonderful anniversary / Christmas / birthday / here's everything gift. She got me the PlayStation 5. And I got the Xbox Series X myself. And like Alex mentioned, we were not provided any review software for this outside of Call of Duty Black Ops. Myself, we were not provided anything else.
Yeah, so, we had some review copies from previous gen that were going to be cross-gen games, so that's why we're going to cover some of them. But as far as first, like, official, like, made for next gen games that we had for review, like you said, it's Call of Duty. I, for one, have received Puyo Puyo Tetris 2, which you'll have a review of that actually in the show. And that's interestingly enough, the review is able to come out on, during when the show goes live, but the game doesn't come out for almost a month.
Oh, wow.
So
So we will take a break to hear that review, probably in about, I don't know, just a couple of minutes once we kind of talk about our other impressions of this and kind of what we have. So, for the purposes of this, for the Xbox Series X, I did purchase the extended storage, so the little memory card. I also bought myself a brand new Xbox Series X, or sorry, Xbox Elite 2 controller, as my Xbox Elite controller 1 was literally falling apart because I put that thing through some paces since the era of Titanfall. Um, I love my Series 2 controller. It is great. It is wonderful. Buying a premium controller is absolutely worth it if you're like me and into competitive shooters. I had a fantastic time with it. I have played probably about 2 hours of Call of Duty Cold War so far. I really like it. There are two content creators that I follow on YouTube, Drifter and Exclusive Ace, and I've taken some of their advice for some of my settings. I've turned off motion blur, which is really helping. Now, I do not have 120 hertz TV. I only have 60, but I have 4K HDR and all that thing.
because let's be realistic. You see people bitching and complaining online about, it's like oh, it's not as good as PC or only 120 hertz. People don't realize it costs like $1,500 to get a TV that can do all that. They're expecting everybody to have that. No, PC gamers have been spoiled for years because their monitors have been fairly cheap to have that kind of refresh rate. But we're talking large scale TVs. Most people don't have that yet.
Yeah.
So at least the systems are future proof. That in the next 4 or 5 years, if you choose to upgrade, you can do it. I'm perfectly happy with just getting consistent 60 FPS on games again, because it's been really since like the PS2 era, since most games were that.
Mm-hmm. Now, in addition to this, what else have we purchased? For PlayStation 5, I got an extra controller because the battery life on these controllers is not great. I also purchased the Pulse 3D headset, which I've used for about an hour playing Astro's Playroom and Spider-Man, and it sounds really cool. Just saying that right out of the gate.
I am somebody who absolutely hates simulated surround, and this is the first time where I've listened to it and went, that doesn't sound fakey.
Yeah, it sounds really, really, really good. I do have a charging dock coming. I haven't got it in time for this impressions. I'm getting it for Christmas from my sister-in-law. She doesn't know that I said that out loud, so thank you, Amazon, for spoiling that. That being said, so we're going to take a small break here on the show, and you're going to hear Alex's review of Puyo Puyo Tetris 2, you said?
Yes.
Okay, so we will be back, guys, right here on the prototype, and then we'll dive into our impressions of these brand new consoles. We'll be back, guys, right after this.
This is a fair request, and I promise I will not judge any person only as a teenager, and that this is no more right than saying all teenagers are drunken dope addicts or glue sniffers.
One of the very early titles to come out on the Nintendo Switch that I was anticipating was Puyo Puyo Tetris from our friends over at Sega. And I got a chance now to check out Puyo Puyo Tetris 2 on the PlayStation 5. It's one of the first titles that I received that I can play on my new system. And I've sort of had a preview few-day window to check things out before I'm recording this this early impression preview review, whatever you want to call it. And I wanted to say that it's not just a carbon copy of the first like I thought it was going to be. It's a more robust game, more fleshed out. As far as what's involved, is there's an adventure mode similar to before. It's more in-depth with like an overview map and more stuff going on. There's a brand new story, new characters, new overworld map, new special missions, and my favorite aspect is that they've added an RPG element to the progression for skill battles. There's an auto difficulty setting that you can enable that will sort of, okay, if you start losing a lot, it'll lower the difficulty for you. If you start winning a lot, it can increase the difficulty if it feels that it's too easy on you. So there's a bit of an AI difficulty level in here, which is really kind of neat to see, that you don't usually see. Usually there's either a really steep curve or there's a small progression, but it was really neat that was included. When you beat levels, it gives you like a sort of a report card showing you how fast you did it, what's your best time. It'll rank you, giving you stars. And with the skill battles, it's a new mode they've added. So think RPG puzzler game. So you end up equipping cards. You sort of assemble a team, and you have to manage your HP, your MP. And as you battle your way through it affects how much HP you have if you get hit or lose. It's really it's hard to sort of describe, but it's a very addicting gameplay mode. Something that I've not seen in there. The closest thing I think that might be able to relate to is, you remember when Puzzle Quest came out and how that was a blending of that match 3 style and an RPG? Think that, only maybe a little less robust. It's a little lighter, a little more easy to pick up and play from the RPG element of it. And that's sort of what you're getting here, but with Puyo Puyo Tetris. Item cards are the loot you get, loot in quotes, from during the adventure mode, and you use them in the skill battles to boost the team's stats. So it's a little bit of card building, deck building with different attributes, a little bit of your adventure RPG mode, and then your classic puzzle game. So it's kind of neat that it just has all of this included. It's stuff that would have been really awesome in the first game, and obviously they took sort of feedback and worked their way into having brand new robust game modes. There's a bunch of new characters, returning characters in the game as well. I'm not going to go into all of them because you'll see them in trailers and everything. But interestingly enough, there's going to be, as far as I can tell, a plan to start release content moving forward as well. So I've had fun playing. I've had maybe a glitch or two here and there, but that was actually more of a hiccup on my system's end. Because I was downloading so many games at once, I had a hiccup. And then once I finished downloading all my previous console games to my internal storage on the PS5, and I booted up the game, it worked perfectly smooth. So it was sort of, it was like, hey, Alex, you're trying to do too much right now. But it's cutesy, colorful. Everything looks great. The TV, everything plays in HDR, which is stunning and pops, right through the screen at your face, because it's that cartoony style of the first game sort of brought out to the max. It's really going to be on PS4, PS5. So the code I activated was the PS4 code. And when you do so, it automatically gave me the PS5 as far as I could tell. And I could actually select in the PS5 settings which version of the game do you want to play, PS4 or PS5. So it's kind of neat that they have that as an option for a lot of these PS5 and 4 cross-gen games. There's a Switch version, Series X and S, Xbox One, and Steam. So pretty much the gamut. It's on everything coming out. It's going to be out in pretty much every language out there. The voices are English and Japanese. It's got a retail price of $40 US. So if you want to find out more, I'll put a link in the description for the show, but it's puyo.sega.com/Tetris2. Pretty straightforward. I would say between this and Tetris Effect, I played the Tetris Effect game, which I was really excited for on the Xbox Game Pass with the Series X that I picked up. And it's a fun game. I love the music and love the style, but I feel that this, as far as a Tetris experience, is a more robust game. So Sega's done a pretty good job of blending Puyo Puyo and Tetris with this. And it's the logical evolution of the first game. And I think it's going to surprise a lot of people with how deep this game can get.
Basically using geeks.
Leave me alone, geek boy.
Holy shit, you geeks are badass.
All right, well, welcome back to ThisWeekInGeek.net's Prototype, and we are talking about the next generation of consoles. Okay, so the first console we had was the Xbox Series X. Alex had this about a day before I did. I ordered directly from the Microsoft store, and it got here on Wednesday, November 11th. So I was a little bit behind Alex. Alex, you had it on launch day, and
I had it at 10 a.m. slightly before stores opened. So
so
it
the
was
video on YouTube and everything. So
yeah, it was it wasn't anything fancy. It was like, hey, let's get something out. But the reality was that the going to pre-order the console obviously was the hard part. And if you want that, you can listen to our rants about it earlier in the year. But picking it up was actually really easy. I've got to hand it to EB Games. They actually did have a proper plan for this. While they were not prepared for the pre-orders, for sure they weren't. They were prepared for the pickups in that they booked times with everybody who had a pre-order and who I was like the first person to call them and say, hey, when can I come pick it up? They're like, well, we haven't actually called anybody else, but let's make that list right now. We'll put you at the top of it. So I was able to get there for 10 a.m. The store actually opens at 11, but they were opening an hour early, literally just for people to come pick up their consoles and buy accessories, no trades. So I guess that was to move people in and out of the store quickly. There was no lineup because they were giving you scheduled times where maybe they were only going to schedule maybe 2 to 3 people for the same time period to be there so that people could get a note in a minute. But I go in, pick it up, I go to put a warranty on it, and I had forgotten. It's been forever since I purchased an extended warranty from EB Games, GameStop, that they're not actually extended warranties. They're those product replacement plans. So if it dies on me, they just give me a different one. Supposed to be they give you a refurbished one, but there aren't going to be any refurbished ones for the next how long?
Yeah.
So, and I was like, okay, how much is it? I'm like, I was expecting when I bought a 4-year accidental coverage plan on my PS4 Pro back when Sony offered it themselves through the PlayStation Store, and that was like $100. I was like, it'll be $100 for 2 years. No, 120, and I'm like, for what? Because it's a replacement plan and not a repair plan. So I'm like, okay, bought that. They're like, do you want any games to go with it? And I said, what games? and the guy at the store is like, what do you mean? I'm like, what games are there for this? And he's like, and he has to, and like when the EB Games manager has to pull out the book to look at what's new, and he's like, I don't see anything. I'm like, exactly. It's all old games. And he goes, oh, Yakuza Like a Dragon. I'm like, got a review copy. Then you don't need anything with a question mark? And I'm like, nope. Picked it up, put it in the backpack, that heavy brick, walked out, and then proceeded to hook it up. And it is the most dense system I've ever felt. Like, usually when you pick up a system, you can feel the parts of the system that are hollow or what parts are like more heavy than. No, it's just a cinder block. The whole thing is heavy top to bottom.
It's like a mini refrigerator.
It truly is. And the whole, it looks like a router. It doesn't look like a router. It looks like a thick network attached storage drive full of hard drives. That's what it is. It's and hooking it up. I don't know about you, but like your experience was, like you said, ordering it and then it just came late and then we hooked it up. Luckily, I was there right when we thought it was going to arrive to hook it up. They have a fancy unboxing of it where it's like it's presented to you almost like an Apple product. I'm somebody who couldn't give two shits about how a product is presented in a box, as long as the box is functional and the product works.
Can I talk about unboxing videos for just a second?
Yes.
Oh my god, I am so fucking sick of these overly enthusiastic and honestly disingenuine unboxings with some of these.
You mean all the YouTubers that are clearly bought and sold by the companies?
Yeah, like there's just something about it. I mean, okay, I'm not going to excite shame you to a certain extent, but at some point it becomes overkill.
If it sounds phony, it is phony. If it's if it looks like Hollywood made it is what I'm saying.
Yeah, like
iJustine, the friggin' refrigerator, the fakest. You're telling me she didn't know it was coming?
Yeah, because that's something you have to coordinate. Like that's a team of PR people saying you need to be home, or someone has to be able to sign for this between this day and this day. And you have to know what it is. And
they would tell you what it is, and they'd have to tell you the dimensions to drop it off.
Yeah,
and somebody who has that many millions of viewers, subscribers, like she's one of the most fake people I've ever heard of in my life, and I can't stand her because it's like Barbie doll fake on. It's like, hey, we need to implant a corporate shill for unboxings, and that's kind of what she is.
Like, there's just
all the power to her to make money. No, no problem. But I don't like that. It may as well she may as well work for these companies directly.
I mean, honestly, I like the corporate produced unboxings because, like, here's the console, here's what it is, here's what the setup was like. And sometimes it's okay for smaller YouTube creators to make these things, because obviously we're not going to call ourselves kind of hypocrites here, because we did an unboxing, but we wanted to show you what the thing was like to set up.
Well, and it was never going to be professional. We did it's just mount a head cam, hope it works, go through it, and it's just like, I wanted to try to show things that they don't really ever show in these videos. They always make a big deal about the fucking packaging and what it's tilted at when it's looking at you, and like the whole like power your dreams and all. Fuck off. What I want to know, I want to know a couple things. Is the box recyclable? Like, is it actually is it going to be in the landfill? That's one factor. Two is they always pull out the accessories. I want to see how long the cords are.
Yeah.
Nobody ever takes like that's why I picked it up. I'm like, oh, okay, it's a 5-foot power cord, because it doesn't say on the box, or it doesn't say in the unboxing video. They always pick it up and then toss it to the side. I'm like, that's the important shit. How long is your charging cord? How long is your power cord? How long is the HDMI cord? Or something like does it come with, like, not one of them said it came with or didn't come with like a 3-month trial or something, or download codes. And I was genuinely surprised to find there was no codes in either box of any system.
Weirdly enough, I don't know why this happened. I guess maybe because I pre-ordered from the Microsoft store. I got 3 months of Game Pass Ultimate for free.
Yes, that was part of the deal.
Okay, I had no idea until
they didn't advertise it.
Yeah, because the charge, quote unquote, appeared on my Microsoft account, and I was immediately thinking, who is in my shit?
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like, you'd think they'd give you a month, or they'd give you something, but like, I know that it's asking for much now, because there's so much that they're giving away anyway. But you'd think that to get you onto their platform, like, I don't know if it came with the S, or just to get people in, but you would think to get on Game Pass Ultimate, they'd want to give you a month for free, regardless of if you've been a subscriber before.
Yeah, so
it literally costs them nothing to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, not again, and I don't mean to like have piled on just one person or complaining about just the high end YouTubers on that, but it's YouTube for some of these people is starting to become the shopping channel, and it's no longer opinions. It's
one of the best
advertised. It's free advertising for them, because do you think this person and these people that got those fridges are actually going to use them?
The one person whose unboxing that I liked, and I think it was Victor Lucas, who's of the Electric Playground and a fellow Canadian, he did show the length of the power cord and stuff like that, if I remember. And he's like, the controller comes with batteries. That's important. You need that. Stuff like that. Well, I appreciate things like that.
That's what bugs me, is that 90% of them don't do that. It's like, here's the controller, which we've already seen. Mm-hmm. Here's the system, and what they all basically fawn over is, oh, look, the Xbox was tilted to the side and had a little box on there with like almost wrapped like a bow that says "Power Your Dreams."
Yeah, I mean, cool. It looks like an Apple thing. Who cares? When we got mine set up, we went with the vertical standing, which is how it's supposed to be. Though you can put it horizontal if you wish.
Yeah, but that's going to be a nightmare for people with thermals. It really is.
I did something kind of unique with mine, and I posted it on Reddit. And as of this recording, it's 2,400 likes, I think. And I just put a simple N7 decal, and I did that a week before console launch because, like, I want a Mass Effect thing, because I was watching the Mass Effect N7 Day stream. And as of this recording, you're going to hear something Mass Effect related at the beginning of next show. So stay tuned for that. And I'm like, really cool. And I'm actually surprised there wasn't a limited edition console for some of these. I'm sure there will be down the road. Setting up, one thing that surprised me is, in all the videos, they show the top of the Xbox looking green. Yeah, that's just paint. It would have been cool if that was RGB lighting, but I can see why not.
I would have hated it. I would have been like, I don't want the system anymore. I am
you
not.
Fucking would not. You would have. There would have been a way to turn it off.
Okay, sorry. If there was not a way to turn it off, I would be very upset. I don't want, even though a game system's a toy, I don't want it to look like kitschy junk. I don't want it to be like the morons that build those PCs with a billion lights. So how does that make your PC work better?
I don't know. I think some of them look cool. Some of them, like there's an N7.
Look cool. How does that make you game better?
Doesn't. Just aesthetics. It's the same people who buy fancy cars, right?
And those people are stupid. Stupid. I'm going to take a Toyota Tercel and then cover it in LED lights and put like a 1400 watt subwoofer in there because I'm cool, yo.
Back to the console.
They're the kind of people that like Limp Bizkit, unironically.
So getting these things set up was pretty easy. You can set it up using the Xbox app, which I thought was actually kind of nice.
Well, you have to set it up. You have to have the internet and you must use a phone on the Xbox. You can't skip it.
You can't do it on a computer?
No.
Wow.
That was one thing that was reported. It was all over Reddit. People were like, you mean you can't bypass it? Nope. You must install the app to your phone and you must use it. Whereas PlayStation, you can bypass it. Yeah, so they may change that with a firmware update or something, but that was the number one thing was people said, like, I don't want to have to install another app on my phone if I don't want to. And they're like, well, you kind of have to use the system. Mm-hmm. But yeah, but regardless, it makes it super easy. Mm-hmm. Like, once you signed in, like, you were like, what do I do? I'm like, you sign in, and then you're like, what do I do now? And it's like, done. Because it just grabs from the cloud the previous settings you had on whatever other Xbox you had. I imagine there's a lot more to set up if you don't have another Xbox in their system. And then it was just turning on some of the more advanced features and changing some of the capture stuff. We may as well get into this now. The Xbox Series X and S are terrible for capture and streaming.
Yeah, I tried to set up posting stuff to my Twitter, and I had trouble uploading video. I had to turn quality down. I can upload screenshots with no problem, but I have to. I think my screenshots are 1080p, maybe 720, but they're not 4K.
And you have to turn off HDR for some of them too for it to work to Twitter.
Yeah, I was like, that's annoying. I haven't tried Twitch streaming out of it yet.
Oh, I have, and it's terrible. You have to install Twitch, obviously. They don't have any built-in streaming capabilities in the system, like at all. All it does is it has an option to capture like a minute worth or 30 seconds worth of footage, similar to the Nintendo Switch, where you press a button and it just captures the last 30 seconds or last minute. 30 seconds 4K HDR, or up to a minute on 1080p with HDR off. I think it's 3 minutes if it's 720p, but who's capturing 720p video from an 8K system? So there's that, and then I think you have to like upload it to Microsoft. I guess was it OneDrive to get a copy of it for yourself, or you can share it through their app. They're expecting everybody to stay within their ecosystem. So it's like, I'll bet you can share those pictures, Mike, but if you want to share them properly, you got to share them through them instead of through Twitter. Installing Twitch, it'll run a test on your network speed, and I've got gigabit, and it goes, okay, the max you can do is what the application allows. And I think Twitch is actually still running in Xbox One X compatibility mode, because there weren't any features for it to really detect that you were using anything better than that. So it goes 1080p 60. I'm like, 1080p 30 is what it maxed out at, and then it goes whatever data rate. So I go to stream, and it does not detect that you're using HDR, so it then outputs the video in a really high contrast but really dark. Like it's trying to output the wrong color space, so it screws that up, and it limits you to 480p. So unless you're using your Xbox through another capture device, like through your PC, which defeats the whole point of being able to stream through the system, you're not going to be able to utilize it. I think they've shot themselves in the foot when they got rid of Mixer, because Mixer was built in and it would have worked just fine.
I was about to say, like, hopefully this is something they can fix, and it's just something that can be worked out between Microsoft and Twitch, and it's just adjusting something on the back end.
Yeah, other than that, I've had some occasional glitches, little crashes, little software things, but it's all going to get patched out because we're early adopters. I found that it's been pretty dramatic in how much faster everything loads, but that's nothing new that anybody else has been on YouTube hasn't found.
One thing I did encounter was some technical problems, and that was I have the extended storage. I have the internal storage of the Xbox, and I also have a USB smaller drive I was using on my Xbox One for years to put some of my other games on. It took me hours upon hours to move, and that's the speed of the drive and the kind of USB.
Yeah, you were limited to 100 megs, potentially 100 megs a second from a drive that you were trying to copy 700 gigs from.
Yeah, although I did manage to lock up the system several times. I was able to repeat this error, and I guess that's just not under ideal conditions. You shouldn't be doing this anyway. What I've done is I've moved my smaller, shittier games to the USB drive, because I'm like, you know what? I don't need to play D&D Chronicles of Mystara from my internal hard drive.
And if you do, reading from a USB 3 old laptop drive is still faster than it would have been on the old system.
Yeah, so I did that. I moved most of my games, like stuff like Far Cry 5, Skyrim, Fallout 4, things that are known to have really extensive load times. And so far they run like buttery smooth. So that's really impressive.
Yeah, like it's good there. I had an SSD that I was using for that, and it was still slow moving stuff around. But I'm somebody, like, we come from very different backgrounds of what we do with systems. I only keep between 4 and 10 games on a system at a time.
Yeah, I keep like a library of at least 60 on my consoles. I mean, if you look at my console library, should I say how many games I have? Is that bad?
I don't know. I've got like 400 on the PS3, PS4.
I got like 310, I think, and that's a lot of review copies dating all the way back to the 360 days.
Review copies. I used to work at EB Games, so I was getting, like, back in the PS3 era, I was getting pretty much everything. So that still shows up in your library.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of what else I can mention about the consoles. Xbox Series X, Assassin's Creed Valhalla looks really nice. There are times.
It looks a bit better. It doesn't look dramatically better, but it loads a lot better.
Yeah. Actually, no, I would say it because I'm coming from a VCR Xbox One, so it looks dramatically better for me. Like, there are times outside where I guess the ray tracing and the God rays are coming, and you're going through the English countryside. By the way, update on that review. I'm 30 hours in. I still haven't done many of the main side quests. Yeah, but Lord help you if you come near me, you are dead.
I'm a little behind you because I've been juggling other ones, but I'm at about 20 hours.
Yeah, I also pro tip: connect your Ubisoft account to your Amazon Gaming and gain God armor. Good luck. So anyway, yeah, it looks fantastic. I haven't tried Watch Dogs Legion yet. I've seen some videos, and it looks impressive. I
put it on PS5, and I was like, oh, everybody leave the room because I'm about to pleasure myself. It looks pretty dramatic, like the difference. Because I saw what you were playing when you're playing it on the VCR, and it's like going from a PS2 to a PS4.
Yeah, like, it's really, really impressive. Other games that I've tried on Series X, I fired up Skyrim, but it loads really quick.
Now, interesting. I wonder if people are going to make mods that bring it like 4K. Like, you can't change the entire engine. Like, they can't just like mod in ray tracing.
There were mods that would add a faked effect like it. Like, there were.
They might be able to brute force it through CPU, not through the GPU.
Yeah.
So they, like, at the very least, you're good. There'll be, like, you know how there was, like, for the PC, the high res texture modes and all that you couldn't run on console, you might be able to run some of the PC mods now.
Yeah, I'll be very curious to see what some of the Fallout 4 mods are like and what some of the Skyrim mods are right now. I'm very curious. So, trying to think of what else can we really say about the Series X. I mean, my impressions of it so far, spending more time with it than I did with the PS5. I like it, but it feels too familiar. And what do I mean by that?
It's an Xbox One X2.
Yeah, it feels like the Xbox Series X Pro. It's a technological leap forward. Yes, it does have improved loading. It does have improved graphics and all that shit.
The interface is still terrible.
Yeah, it's still the same interface. It doesn't feel... I don't feel next gen other than the games look better.
I don't know how they can use an interface for 7 years and still not realize that it's difficult to navigate.
It's annoying. I don't like it. Like, I don't
Multiple
like how my home screen's laid out.
Multiple swipes to get to things, multiple things. Things aren't laid out logically. I don't understand it because Microsoft usually isn't this bad. But it's like they're still trying to force the Windows 8 tiles down your throat, even though that's like a 10-year-old piece of software now. So it's very, very poorly laid out. Also, missed opportunity. The system does not display in HDR on the menus, so every time you open a game, your TV flickers for like 10 seconds.
Yeah, although
and it's annoying as fuck.
It is. One thing I did do, which I didn't obviously do this much on the last generation, I took one of my 4K captures that I took in Assassin's Creed Valhalla. By the way, taking a screenshot in the Xbox ecosystem or a video is fucking annoying.
Unless you're using the new controller.
Yeah, like I was using my Elite.
Yeah, for the Elite, I had to plug the paddles in and map some buttons to it.
Oh, I had pressed the Xbox button and I repeated the action I wanted screenshotted. You may have seen this if you follow my Twitter and Instagram, which is at Birdman Dodd. I took a picture of me petting the dog in Assassin's Creed and the cat. So I have a picture of me holding this giant kitty in that's my Xbox home screen now. So this giant cat smiling at me.
If you do use their new controller they give you, that would have simply been pressing the button twice.
See, I like the texture of the new controller, but if I had to pick and choose, I would still go with my Elite.
With the Elite, just put the paddles in. I made two of the paddles. One, the left trigger paddle was take a screenshot, and the right bottom paddle was click it once. That records video.
Okay, so maybe that's something I'll have to set up the next time.
It's annoying that you have to do that, but and also again, they made this big deal about how they added these features, and they're not robust at all.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's pretty much all I really have to say on it, other than it performs really well as an Xbox One. I don't see anything that other than just being a graphical powerhouse that takes it to the next level.
Yeah, like I said, so far so good, but you're not blowing me away.
Also, there's no real games like we don't have any true games developed for the platform yet to really see what takes advantage of it. Like I've been playing, like I may as well mention it now. Like I played The Falconeer, which is an indie title that's exclusive, and it plays wonderful, but it's an indie title, and it's fun. You're flying around and you're shooting things in the air, and it's buttery smooth. But they don't have a Halo. They don't have
a Gears of War. Although there is the update, and you can play as Dave Bautista during the entire campaign, which is really interesting.
But again, it's just it shows their whole approach, which is let's just make it more powerful. But they didn't think about how are they going to make the games better or make new games. You telling me that, and you can't blame it on COVID. You're telling me that for like the last 3 or 4 years they haven't had any plans for new games?
Yeah, I don't see any definitive killer app, and don't hang your hat on Gears of War Tactics.
Which is a PC game. They just ported over.
So go them, I guess. All right, so moving on to the PlayStation 5. So this was yet another rigmarole. For me, getting the PlayStation 5 was right place, right time. Blair woke me up from a nap at the right time.
Oh, yeah. I
literally,
got heat stroke.
yeah. With me, we got the email from Sony saying, "Hey, stay by your computers. Pre-orders are going live tonight." Blair woke me up from a nap after the PlayStation State of Play.
Thank you, Sony reps, for at least giving us that heads up.
Yeah, so I wake up and I see there's a guy I follow on Twitter. He's a Canadian video game guy, and he's like, "Hey, pre-orders are up on Best Buy." I got in super quick. Nobody noticed because I guess it was I guess I was in the first 5 minutes. The site didn't crash.
It was like 2:30 in the morning.
No. This was at 7:30 at night.
Oh no, that's right. The second wave was like 2:30.
Yeah, so that's the one where I called you.
Yeah,
and
I'm like, what do you want?
Like, who's dead? Who's dying? So I was able to get in 5 minutes, 3 clicks. Credit card, enter. I live here, blah, blah, blah. Express shipping, blah, blah, blah. Done. Cool. In and out, no problem. Got my digital edition. Said to you, don't have to worry about this shit until whenever it comes. And then there was your experience.
I pre-ordered on Amazon. I got through on there, but I was like, I'm not going to have that kind of money on a credit card. I am a poor man on disability. So I went, and the plan, that was never part of the plan. I'm like, no, my Ocean's 11 plan. It has to be done at EB Games. So what do? They're like, pre-orders go live tomorrow. And I went, oh! So I woke up, went down to go get the pre-order, went there 2 hours early. There's already a line of like 12 people. And I'm going, well, fuck. But I'm standing here. So I wait 2 hours. 4 people go in, they go out, and then somebody comes out, not even from the store, but somebody else comes out. They're already out. We're like, what? They're like, yeah, we got 4 at this location, and no digital edition, just the disc edition. And I'm like, but what? 4 for the entire pre-order allotment for like the entire thing? And they're like, yes. We'll let you know if we get any more. I'm like, anger, lots of anger. And it was when we had a heat wave coming through again too. So I, wait, we find out the next week they're doing it at the same time. I'm like, okay, so I'm going to get there 3 hours early before they open. I get there 3 hours early. There's already 13 people in line. Fuck again. And I'm standing there, and then a line of like 60 people form behind me. And then there's a lady that starts getting belligerent and starts fighting with people. I don't give a fuck, blah, 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 blah. I'm a bum at Karen lady, blah, 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 blah. Trying to throw a fit because she's cutting in line. And then they had to call security. They hand out these tickets where they're like, here's how many consoles we have. They hand me the last one. And I'm like, thank God I could kiss you on the lips, but it's COVID. And people in front of me, because I'm already almost passing out from 3 hours of standing in blaring sun heat. It's about, with humidity, I don't know what it would be in Fahrenheit, maybe about 100 degrees, probably. Because it was it was like 45.
It was a warm day.
Yeah, and it was like no wind, no shade, nothing, and I'm just standing there, I'm almost passing out. Can't drink anything the entire morning because if you have to go pee, where do you go? That's right, you lose your spot. So I almost pass out. I think Blair was coming to pick me up because we were going to go meet you and your sister. And she just looks at me and she goes, "You're not doing so well." And I was like, "Oh, this can't be good." So I went through all of that, just like 5 hours total of waiting in line to get a system, and then picking it up. Like I said, was super easy. I go in, they go, "I don't know if it's going to fit in your hockey bag." I'm like, "Excuse me?" And then they show me the size of the box, and I'm like, "Oh my God, it's like 2 feet by 2 feet by like 1.5 feet thick." And it just fit in the hockey bag. And then I snuck that home, walked through the park, didn't get mugged, hooked it up, and was pleasantly surprised, except when it crashed twice. So yes, I've had the system crash twice, whereas I haven't had that happen on Xbox. That being said, it seems to be a common issue where you try to load a game before it's finished installing. And that's an easily patched out thing. We haven't encountered the buzzing issue that some people have had with like defective fans. You probably have seen that pop up, Michael, on the internet?
Yeah, I saw that pop up with a friend of ours who's fairly kind of local to us, and Sony has fortunately reached out to him, but he's expecting a 2-week return on his console. Now, he said the system still works. Don't get me wrong, it works, but there's a problem. So luckily, Sony's going to work with him to get that fixed, which is fairly fantastic.
If it is just the fan, looking at their original teardown, it doesn't void your warranty to replace the fan. That being said, they probably don't have parts to give out to or even let you order, or sometimes people do it. They'll ship it to you with instructions, because if it's literally as simple as take the side panel off, unplug fan, pull it out, they'll just let you do it.
Mm-hmm.
But in this case, if it's this new, they want to do kid gloves on all this.
Yeah. In my experience with the PlayStation 5, now this one I've had a little bit less time with, because Alex didn't come over to hook it up until Friday when I got it. And I had mostly been focusing on Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Plus, we had the download data, transfer data. We were doing a lot of transferring of material. Something that you should be aware of with the PlayStation 5 is you do not get to use the entire hard drive.
Yeah, so either system you don't get to.
Yeah, but you get a lot less space on the PlayStation 5.
That 825 gigs on the side of the box, that is not after formatting. That is what the system has before the system software is on there. You get 600 gigs on the dot.
Yeah, so pick and choose your games carefully.
Yes, and you cannot temporarily move or archive your games that are PS5 native code to an external drive.
Yes, they must run on the internal.
Yes, you can do that with, but the second you plug in a compatible, like a fast enough USB drive that you format for the PlayStation software, it will say, hey, would you like to install all PS4 games by default to this drive? So if you go to the store to download stuff and it's a PS4 game, you don't have to worry about it taking up space on your main drive.
Yeah. So Alex was fortunate enough for me to borrow one of his drives from his brother, and we transferred some games off my PlayStation 4 to my PlayStation 5. So I transferred over Persona 5 Royal, The Last of Us Part 2, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Mafia Definitive Edition, Persona 5 Dancing in Starlight, and Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2, and something else.
And then we had to delete one of them because you already completely filled your drive.
Yeah, we're like, shit.
You didn't have enough space for your PS5 games.
Yeah, I was like, the hell? So, and then I downloaded Spider-Man Remastered and Spider-Man Miles Morales. So, in my experience, I have played about 4 hours of Spider-Man Miles Morales. Again, haven't touched the story missions, really. I'm screwing around, doing crimes, getting stuff. Now, this is something I've got to talk about this, and I'll do an extended review of Spider-Man in like a week or so when once I finish Black Ops, I'll get to it. You can get, I guess everybody got this by default from Insomniac. You get the Into the Spider-Verse suit. Okay, very cool. But you get 2 items. One is called Vibing Into the Spider-Verse, where if you punch someone, you get the Batman 1960s effect where it says bam, pow, whap, or whatever, which he does in the movie. And then this impressed the hell out of me. It's another suit modification. It takes up a slot, but who cares? It makes it look like the movie. You move at a slower frame rate, but it doesn't affect your combat. You look like you're in the Spider-Verse movie, and that carries into cutscenes.
That's cool.
It is so impressive. I'm like, oh my God. Like, I'm jumping around fighting all these guys with all these glowy neon arms and shit, and I'm bouncing it around. It's like I'm watching the movie. I'm like, from a technical standpoint, this blows the Xbox right out of the water.
Not to mention, I've played a lot more. Obviously, I had it a day earlier, and I sort of been focusing on it. I even transferred my save over from Xbox for Assassin's Creed, and dude, they add the motion control stuff to it, like all the adaptive triggers, and it makes the game feel completely different. But that will be something we have to go into in our final review of that. I've also played. the 3 games I really wanted to focus on were ones that I know made my my PS4 Pro like suffer and scream at me like, why are you doing this to me? And that was Final Fantasy 7 remake. When I played that, I had to turn off HDR and I had to force it to 1080p mode on my PS4 because it just couldn't handle it. Now it's 4K HDR, consistent frame rate. It doesn't like unlock it to a faster frame rate or anything, but consistent. And when you're in town or running and doing things, you know how there'd be like graphical pop-ins or like weird textures, all gone. Instantly loads every texture. It's all working. It's not like a miraculous change, but I can't wait to see what they do when they inevitably patch it. You know they're going to make a patch for native versions for that game. The other 2 games I wanted to try were Ghost of Tsushima, because I know they had already released a patch for that, and it now does 4K 60, which it didn't do before, and it's buttery smooth, fantastic. And the final one, do you remember playing Detroit Become Human?
Yeah, I really liked it. I had the original launch PS4 and it looked really good.
It looked really good, but you remember that frame rate would stutter and chug, and the system would be like, woo, making horrible sounds. I put it in, and it just laughed in my face. It's like, yeah, we work fine. Yeah, everything works. Everything works at the high frame rate, no slowdown. Also, your system doesn't make any audible noise when it's playing. It just happens to work. So when that was all done, I basically deleted every single one of my PS4 games to save space, because I'm like, if I need to play them, I'll download them. Downloading is much faster on here. Like, I can download a 40 gig game in about less than 10 minutes. Now, I have gigabit internet, obviously, but it's just, for whatever reason, maybe they're using new servers, it is a lot faster to get the games. And then as far as other games I've played, I already played a PS5 native code upgrade of WRC 9, which is the racing game from Nacon that I reviewed a couple months ago. Doesn't look dramatically better. Maybe some load times are faster, but they included the adaptive triggers in that when the car backfires, like if you're changing gears and stuff, it makes the controller shake, and actually your gas pedal will like shake on you and stuff. It's kind of neat. And then I also played, what other ones? Demon Souls I played a little bit, but I want to get a little more into that. But that you have to really focus on, and I'm terrible. I played a little tiny bit of Sackboy, but I spent most of my time playing the built-in game. Astro's Playroom, you could have charged $30 or $40 for that game.
Yeah, my experience with Astro's Playroom is not nearly as extensive as yours. I've played maybe 2 hours, and I watched a friend of mine play for an hour. This is one of the most impressive packing games, and I saw this on Twitter, and I don't disagree with it. Since Wii Sports and since Super Mario Brothers Duck Hunt, in terms of, it shows you what the system can do.
Yep.
It doesn't need violence other than cartoony crap.
Yeah, there's nothing in there that would be egregious to anybody.
Yeah, it's a good time.
There's homages left and right to every popular PlayStation game of all time. I don't know if I had to delete it but I was taking screenshots of things. You encounter Cloud's Buster Sword.
What? And
if you smack it and you hit it, it does the spin in the air like when he's and then it can hit you and knock you down. There's Death Stranding references. There's references to like R-rated or like M-rated games, but they're all done in a cutesy cartoon style. There's lots of little hidden things here and there. There's 4 puzzle pieces to collect in every sub-level, as well as 2 artifacts. And artifacts are things like controllers and systems that were from different generations of the PlayStation. And so there's 4 sections to each level that each have these collectibles. And then there's some other gotcha components where it's like you're playing a crane machine to get extra things. And it'll be about 8 to 10 hours to beat it. And once you do it, you actually get to do, there's a final secret boss, and it's not spoiling it. There's probably videos of it online already. The boss is the tech demo that they had made when they were demoing the technology for the PlayStation back when it was still in development, I believe, is like the Super Nintendo add-on. Like, we're talking like 93 They were like the demo they made where it was showing a T-Rex running up towards the screen. Well, that comes to life and you have to fight it. And then at the end, it gives you, you get to play through the credits like you would in like a Kirby or like a Smash Brothers, where the credits fly at you towards the screen and you can get points for attacking certain letters of people's names. And it had a very Kirby feel. Like it felt like this could have been a Nintendo game. And that's one thing I want you to think about here. Has there been a better launch lineup from a first party company or from exclusive titles ever? And I truly mean that, ever. Look, think of the markets they're covering. Even with Godfall, which we haven't heard a lot about, but they're trying to get, okay, there's that competitive online gamer market. You've got your hardcore gamer with the Demon Souls. You've then got your casual or your mainstream market with Spider-Man. You then have your family market where you've got like family/kids, which is something that Sony has for a long time not been good at. You got Sackboy, and you got a free built-in game that anybody can play with Astro's Playroom. They're covering all their bases, and it's been a long time since a pack-in title was more than just a tech demo. While it has technical demo aspects where it's showing you how to use the controller, it's a game you can pick up and play as much as you want and replay certain levels and do things. I could see them making a sequel to this and charging $30 or $40 in a couple years' time.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I was impressed just by it overall. I mean, like, using the controller in inventive ways. Like, the last time I saw the ability to blow into a controller or a system was the Nintendo DS, which I think maybe 2 or 3 games ever used that period.
Yeah, and also we noticed when you do the tech demo parts, the touchpad is much more sensitive than it was.
It's more sensitive than an iPhone. Because I had my iPhone out and my friend Liam was playing with it, and I'm like, I have to put more pressure onto my iPhone 11 Pro than I do this controller. I'm thinking, holy shit. Now, either I am misreading this massively, or this is an impressive piece of tech in a controller.
That, and they improved the 6-axis. It is more accurate than like the old PlayStation Move was, with the camera pointed at it in the light bar. Like, it's almost a 1-for-1 movement in any direction now on the screen, and almost no latency. So they've got, like, I understand why the controllers are $10 more now than they used to be. Battery life is not great, and it won't be because of those adaptive triggers and the rumble. Like, you're walking around and every tiptoe you feel. And if, let's say, something shoots you from the right-hand side of the screen, only the right side of your controller will rumble. And, like, that stuff's crazy. Like that's something that I haven't even, like, Nintendo hasn't even really done that. Kirby's one of the best examples, in that at the end of the Kirby game, when you beat it and you beat it like 100%, you go to a final special level. At the very end, it uses the rumble motors and the haptic feedback to literally play the music for the Kirby original game. And that's something really inventive. That's the kind of stuff they're doing with Astro's Playroom. And that's just a pack-in game.
Yeah, like, there is so much potential with the PlayStation 5 that I'm honestly more impressed than I thought I would be. And admittedly, I was more excited for the Series X, because on paper, the Series X is better in a lot of ways. However, certain games run better. There was a video I watched yesterday, technically, and only by a few seconds, Assassin's Creed Valhalla loads faster on PlayStation 5, and it also runs more consistently at 60 FPS.
It has a faster hard drive, which is the thing to do. But also, I think it was it Digital Foundry put out a video comparing the Devil May Cry game, and under more than half of the circumstances, the PS5 was actually getting a better frame rate with all the same settings on. So they're saying that there might be some optimizations that the PlayStation 5 has to their programming API that are not possible on the Xbox to do some system overhead or something. Because on paper, the system should be, like 20% faster?
Mm-hmm.
Yet they were getting like 10 frames less per second. on a like this, the PS5 was doing 120 and it was doing like 100 to 110, and they're scratching their heads like, why? This shouldn't be like working like that. But it goes to show that sometimes it's about how the game is optimized. So that's interesting. Other big one too, I haven't tested it yet, but for streaming and sharing, the PS5 has a built-in sharing suite. So you have a camera hooked up, or even if you don't, you can in there make your own overlays. You can do all your like stuff that people do when they're streaming on Twitch or on their PC and everything. It has a whole streaming studio built in. And if you want to just record clips and stuff, just like the PS4, you can take a screenshot, or you can tell it to record 4K video. So 4K 60, it'll record up to an hour to your hard drive when you click the share, like the double click the share button, which is still built into the controller. No fancy things you have to do, and it doesn't have to be forced onto like their own Xbox or PlayStation marketplace. You can plug in a USB stick, copy that to there, and go edit it on your computer and upload it to YouTube. So here's the difference. Xbox Series X, up to 30 seconds of 4K video. 1 hour at a time on PlayStation. And it's not restricted in any way. So it's going to be interesting to see. I think if we're going to be doing streaming and we're not going to want to have to set up a PC and hook it up through like an Elgato, blah, blah, it might just be easier to do, if we're going to do streaming sessions, do it on the PlayStation.
Yeah.
But I have to test to see how integrated it is with Twitch. But it looks like it might be able to also automatically go to YouTube and maybe even Facebook. We'll have to check it out.
Yeah. So there's a lot of potential here.
Yeah. Oh, and my final thoughts too, media remotes. For those of us that like to watch our media on disc or even on streaming on there, with the Xbox, I haven't had a chance to check out PDP. I believe is the only company that has a licensed media remote out. Did you get one yourself? You said?
Yeah, I got one that was originally built for the Xbox One.
Yeah, I think their new version is. I think the new version is very similar, just more designed to look the same as the new system. You said it works fine. I think that uses infrared on the front of the system.
I don't know. I don't see an IR receiver. I just point it and it just works.
Yeah, there's an IR receiver right in the front of the system.
Okay, well, I didn't even have to sync it. It just worked.
Yeah, because it's licensed, so that's cool. The PlayStation one, I can confirm it's Bluetooth. Cool. So it pairs just like you paired the PS3 one. So you can point it anywhere you want, and it's a universal remote. You can program it to use your TV as well. So I don't know if you've tried it. Can you wake the Xbox from the media remote?
I think so. I'm almost positive you can.
Good, because that was one of the things I was concerned about with both systems. Because if I'm going to watch a Blu-ray, I don't want to have to turn on one of my controllers. So I was able to turn on and off, and I was able to navigate and do everything from the PS5 media remote. So it makes sense as to why they're, it's the cost what it costs, because it is a Bluetooth device.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty much my thoughts. I haven't had a chance to really test out the camera yet.
Yeah, so we will be talking about these consoles more as time goes on. We do have a holiday gift guide coming up. Of course, we're going to recommend the new consoles in some capacity, but
if you can find them.
Yeah, if you can find them, good luck. It's like the fucking A-Team, if you can find them. So anyway, final thoughts. Looking at these two consoles, I like the reliability of the Series X, but it's more of the same. The PlayStation 5, I feel, has a lot more room to grow. I like Spider-Man Miles Morales a lot.
And a beautiful modern interface for the operating system.
Like, it's great. Although I'm not thrilled about the hard drive. I wish they had offered an expanded storage solution right out of the gate. I'd like to know why they didn't. So if I had to recommend either console, this is very narrow, and I'm recommending it for this alone, but I don't like the reason why I'm recommending it. So follow me through here.
Yeah.
I'm recommending the Xbox Series X because from what I've read, it supports things like Dolby Atmos, whereas the PlayStation does not for playing back Blu-ray discs. That's important if you want the best sound experience. Also, that being said, expanded storage solutions. I like the fact that you do have it's proprietary, but it is a 1 terabyte right out. You can just buy that hard drive. You can just get that. That's great. I like my Xbox, but it's got some kind of caveats. I think I'm going to be playing my PlayStation 5 more, depending on the exclusives. And Sony has a lot of exclusives planned for 2021, providing COVID doesn't fuck that right up. But yeah, I'm narrowly, and I'm talking the slimmest of margins. We're talking that would demand a recount type of margins. I'm going with the Xbox Series X, and not by much.
Yeah, I would say agreed. If you're going with, if what you're concerned with is the best all-round player for absolutely everything, the X is probably the one to go with. If you're looking for new experiences and you want to get new games right out the bat, your only option for exclusive games right now would be going with PS5.
So we will obviously be continuing coverage on these consoles as time goes on. More exclusives. I will have a review of Spider-Man Miles Morales. I'm hoping sometime in the next 2 weeks, hopefully sooner than that. Me and Alex will be doing Assassin's Creed Valhalla and Watch Dogs Legion coming up this week, if not very early next. We just have to get through this week. So stay tuned. A lot more gaming content coming up before the end of the year. So hopefully, once again, you will be entering our contest where you can win a copy of Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War on the Xbox Series X and Xbox One. To enter that contest, just feedback at thisweekingeek.net. Tell us why you're excited for these console generations, or our Twitter at ThisWeekInGeek. And just, again, tell us what you're excited about, what you're not excited about. What did they do right? What did they do wrong? Are you able to get one? Anyway, so until next time for the prototype, we have been
Alex the Producer.
I've been Mike the Birdman saying, be excellent to each other. We'll catch you guys again next time, right here on ThisWeekInGeek.net.
Well, that's our show. All right, here's the deal. Every time you watch my show, I will send you $40.
Checks will not be honored.
You've been listening to This Week in Geek, your source for guaranteed nonsense or your money back. Tune in next week for more info on the most important things you didn't need to know. Check out our website at thisweekingeek.net and subscribe to our podcast through iTunes or any podcatcher. If you'd like to comment on this episode, head over to this episode's post at thisweekingeek.net and leave a comment through Facebook Connect. Follow us on Twitter at thisweekingeek.net and follow our Instagram at twig_official_podcast. Social media not your thing? Send us an email at feedback@thisweekingeek.net. We'll see you next time, and remember,
lower your shields and surrender your listenership.
Just when you think this show is terrible, something wonderful happens.
What?
It ends.
I have to go. Somewhere there is a crime happening.